Well, I've got some good news and I've got some bad news. So the bad news is that this video newsletter is pretty much a repeat of last week's video newsletter, but the good news is I forgot to send out an alert about last week's video newsletter, so you probably didn't even see it anyway. So just stay tuned and let's talk about K-12 education funding in Iowa. So last week I talked about our plan to provide $90 million in new funding to K-12 education in our schools in Iowa, and this week I'm happy to report that we actually passed it. This is a significant investment that is largely made possible by our ability to manage spending and the sound budgeting practices that we've put in place over the last 3 years. In the school districts that I represent alone, Des Moines, West Des Moines, and Waukee, the amount that we passed represents a more than $9 million investment in new money in K-12 schools. And this is just a small part of the overall picture. We invest as taxpayers in Iowa about $7.1 billion in K-12 education funding in Iowa, and that breaks down to about $14,500 per student. So as you can tell, that's a big investment, but money isn't the only thing that we do to invest in education. For example, I've asked the Department of Education to study ways and make recommendations on how we can provide virtual snow days for kids when we do have snow days so that we don't have to have makeup days going into mid-June. And I know we're going to have a significant discussion about mental health funding and the role schools play in mental health funding in Iowa this session too. So stay tuned. We'll have more on education in future editions. Thanks everybody.